Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the RDA. Please, it's massively important that people start putting some respect on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's name. Put some respect on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's name. I think from now on, officially, I'm just going to say, let's wait till May and see what happens in relation to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's earned that respect. One thing you won't hear from the people who suck Jurgen Klopp off and think he's one of the greatest managers of all time is, number one, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got relegated with Cardiff, he got relegated with Mainz in the Bundesliga. Go do your research. Number two, he lost 3 successive European finals before winning anything with Liverpool. Go do your research. Because everybody talks about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer bottling semi-finals. Let's talk about Klopp bottling finals then, shall we? Number three, he hasn't made it past the 5th round of the FA Cup with Liverpool since joining. He's had 5 years to win that trophy that you guys don't care about, that trophy that you guys think is insignificant. He's had 5 years to at least make a quarterfinal. A quarterfinal. Just a quarterfinal. Not even a semi, not a final. Just a quarterfinal. Just make it to the quarterfinal. He hasn't done that. 5 years, you know. Put some respect on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's name. Put some respect on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's name. You do not end up top of the league by accident after January. It does not happen. There's no such thing as a false position unless we're in the first 10 games. There is no such thing as a false position when we're at this point in the season. Yes, Manchester United might not win the league. Yes, things could go terribly wrong. Yes, things could go badly. But at the moment, we are top of the league and we look like we are in a good position. And based on the evidence, I think you've got to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the credit. I just had to preface this video by saying that. Now let's talk about the performance yesterday evening. Personally, I think my man of the match was Marcus Rashford because he got a goal and an assist and he played magnificently. Some people will say their man of the match was Paul Pogba. Some people say Greenwood could even have a shout. You know, I don't think he was man of the match-esque, but his goal was fantastic and I think confident. So loads to talk about in a very short space of time, and I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. But yeah, let's talk about the game yesterday in completion. I'm not going to analyze how Liverpool played or the tactical side. I'm just going to talk about United and what this means for United. It's going to be a very biased tactical view. I think yesterday was another game where Maguire and Lindelof in a back four again let us down, or nearly let us down actually. For the first goal, I think it was massively unorganized. I think there was a lack of decisiveness. I think there was a lack of clarity. And once again with Maguire and Lindelof, you're seeing not just that lack of pace, but you're seeing the timidness, you're seeing the shyness, you're seeing the lack of accountability. No accountability FC, fam. You're seeing those two guys again with their hands up and trying to leave the video frame when the goal happens and basically removing themselves from the situation. And I don't like that. I don't like that in a centre-back. I like a centre-back who takes charge of the situation. Yes, I've criticised Eric Bailly for being too aggressive, for going too far out of position, but that's because Eric Bailly has weaknesses. He's a human being. He's not a perfect footballer. I think there's a myth that if Eric Bailly could stay fit, he'd be one of the best centre-backs in the world, and that's just not true. That's just not true. There's no evidence to suggest that. You can't take a small percentage of games in a season against one-off oppositions and say that based on that only, this guy would be amazing across 38 games. We don't know that. We don't know how teams would play around Eric Bailly if they had seasonal reports on him and scout reports on him on what are some of his weaknesses. So for me, that argument isn't even considered here, but we're talking about Maguire and Lindelof. I think there's a problem with that centre-back partnership, and it's not just the lack of pace. It's not just the lack of recovery speed. It's not just the lack of the ability to stop low-driven crosses on the side, particularly on Maguire's side. It is the timidness and the shyness and the fact that it always looks like they're playing within themselves. Well, not always. Let's be fair, not always. But most of the time this season, it looks like they're playing within themselves. Last season, they were all right. And I don't know if that's because we played a double pivot last season. We're playing a double pivot this season, and we're still conceding goals like mad. So I don't know what's going on. But moving away from that, I think... not going to talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think he was under the radar again. He had an okay game, you know. I wasn't really paying too much attention to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, if I'm being completely honest. Luke fucking Shaw, fam. Put some respect on this man's name. Let your apologies be as loud as your disrespect. Luke Shaw, man. Luke Shaw. I've always said about Luke Shaw that for me, it's about whether or not he can stay fit. It's never been about skill. It's never been about talent. You know, even when we used to do the podcast back on the show, when I used to do the podcast with the guys, like I always used to say, for me, if you can't stay fit, then the jury is out, you know. And I think Luke Shaw is looking in peak fitness at the moment. He is running up and down that flank. He commands that left-hand side up and down the whole 90 minutes. He's working hard. His mentality is very, very refreshing. Very, very refreshing. He seems to have a positive influence on that back four. Yes, he was partially at fault for the goal yesterday, but that happens. Nobody's going to be perfect. But let's look at his game in completion and not focus on one moment. Let's not be that thick. Let's not be that unintelligent. Let us be fair. Let us be rational. Let us be objective. And let us give respect to the left back who has really locked down that side against some of the world's best attackers. I don't need to talk about Salah. Go ask PSG. Go ask PSG who pocketed their star winger. Go ask them. Luke fucking Shaw, mate. Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw. Go ask Mahrez who pocketed him. Go ask Bernardo Silva who pocketed him. Go ask any Man City left winger who pocketed them in the last 4 times we've played with Man City. 5 times actually. Luke Shaw, fam. Luke Shaw, he needs respect. I like Telles. And you know what? A few years ago, if you told me Telles or Luke Shaw, I would have said Telles because I like Telles. I prefer Telles. I think he's got everything I like in a left back. But Luke Shaw is solid defensively, and is that not what a fullback is supposed to be? Look at Trent this season. Crap defensively, crap going forward. What does he offer? At least with Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, even though they're crap going forward and they're inconsistent, defensively they got it locked down on their day. But anyways, moving on, the midfield, Donny van de Beek, controversial Donny van de Beek. You have the football hippies who think Donny van de Beek had a worldie, and his passing is better than Paul Pogba, and his tracking is better than Bruno, and for those reasons we don't need Bruno Fernandes in the team anymore, and I think that's utter bollocks. And then you have the other people who say Van de Beek had a bad game yesterday. I don't think he had a bad game. I think he had a quiet game, a much quieter game than a lot of us would have liked based on the hype. We all wanted to see Donny van de Beek start, but you see, when Donny van de Beek starts in the 10, he has the same problem Bruno has. He has the same problem Cavani has, and he has the same problem with Martial has. He has to do the donkey work, because that's how it is at Manchester United. If you're playing through the middle, you have to do the donkey work. A lot of the service goes out to the flanks to people like Rashford and people like Greenwood, which I believe should be the case, by the way. My biggest problem this season has not been the fact that Rashford and Greenwood can score goals. It's that they haven't been as consistent as they were last season. Last season, Rashford, Martial and Greenwood had 60 goals between them, if I'm not mistaken. 60 goals between them in all competitions. This season, it's nowhere near that. And a lot of it is down to the fact that a lack of creativity in the final third and a lack of final product. And the fact that it's usually Rashford doing it by himself. For me, if we're going to keep playing this playing style of having Rashford and Greenwood, because what else are you going to do on the wings? Then we need to give them service. We need people like Donny van de Beek in the team. Obviously, Bruno is amazing as well. We need Cavani to be comfortable with that role. And I don't know where you go if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's a nice problem to have, by the way. But there were a few times where Cavani could have been played in yesterday and he could have actually scored, but he didn't, because Greenwood and Rashford were too selfish. Greenwood and Rashford obviously scored for each other and assisted for each other. But where does that leave Cavani? Where does that leave Donny van de Beek? You see what I'm saying? Like, when you play centrally for Manchester United, you struggle. You struggle immensely because a lot of our play comes through the width. Whether it's our fullbacks bombing forward and flanking or doing the overlap, or whether it's Marcus Rashford and Greenwood trying to get past the man and then played in through the middle. It's very, very difficult. And I think Cavani is suffering from that at the moment. So for me, I'd still keep Cavani in the team, because I still think in terms of the final product, he is better than Martial. And therefore, in these kind of big clutch games, he will be better. I think Martial's confidence is gone in front of goal at the moment. But hey, I'm not a Martial hater. If Martial does start, I don't mind seeing Martial on the team sheet. It's just a preference. And just pick up by Cavani, by the way. I hope he keeps proving me wrong. But not much else to say on that game. I think Paul Pogba had a magnificent game. Bruno Fernandes obviously scored the free kick, but I don't want this to be a Bruno show. Like, you guys already know how much I love Bruno. You already know how much I love Bruno. And I've been objective enough to call Bruno out when he's had bad games, because I'm not one of those people that thinks Bruno is beyond criticism. No. Bruno is like everybody else on the team. When he's playing badly, I'll say he's playing badly. When he's playing well, I'll say he's playing well. But what I won't do is suck him off every week like he's the second coming of Jesus. That's not going to happen, even though I do think he's the second coming of Jesus, even though I do think he's our savior. I just don't want to be that guy, I don't want to be that guy on these types of videos, Shawnee's already that guy, so, we need someone who's a little bit calm on the channel, who's not as reckless, fam. Don't wait there, bruv. Anyways, big up Shawnee if you are watching the video. Big up everyone who's watched the video this far. Smash that like button, and please do consider subscribing if you are new. We don't make general football content, but we make Manchester United content recently. General football content's kind of not become a thing on this channel. But yeah, I hope you are doing well. New week, new opportunity. Attack it with a fresh mindset and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace!